Good morning, Sir Musha. Good morning, classmates. So we are Team 1 and we're going to discuss the CO4.2 Disassemble engine. The objectives of this topic is 1. Remove water pump pulley. 2. Remove engine mounting bracket. 3. Remove crankshaft pulley. 4. Remove water pump. 5. Remove timing chain cover. 6. Remove timing chain. 7. Inspect timing chain. 8. Remove camshafts. 9. Inspect camshaft timing gear. 10. Remove camshaft timing gear / sprocket. And 12. Remove cylinder head. 11. Remove cylinder head. 12. Remove cylinder head gasket. 13. Remove oil pan. 14. Remove oil seal. 15. Inspect chain tensioner. 16. Inspect camshaft timing bracket. And 17. Inspect chain tensioner, slipper, and damper. So meron tayong mga dapat gawin and tandaan. Required ito sa lahat ng mga mekaniko na gagawa ng ganitong activities. So we need a PPE like eye protection must be worn, goggles, face shield, foot protection must be worn, head protection, hard hat area, and hand protection, hearing protection, breathing apparatus, and keep clear the area. So, ang ini-indicate nitong mga to is yung 5S. So, alam naman natin na ang 5S is for our safety. Ito ay yung mga sort and set in order, shine, standardize, and tools to be needed. OTC tools, water pump puller, remover / installer. OEM car jack. So ano nga ba yung OEM? Ang OEM yung original equipment manufacturer. So ito yung mga nire-recommend ng mga mekaniko para gamiting tools dun sa ating mga kotse. And the last is SST tools set. Electric impact wrench, bear tensioner tool, and wrench. Screwdriver set, alam naman natin yung mga screwdriver. And lahat tayo, kahit sa bahay, meron tayo niyan. Socket wrench set, ito ay mas ginagamit kung saan kapag meron tayong mga bolts na luluwagan o nahihigpitan na nasa loob, nasa pinakaloob ng isang engine. So let's move on to remove water pump pulley. Step 1. Remove obstacles away from the water pump. So kapag narinig natin ang remove obstacles, so ano nga ba yung obstacles na tinutukoy dito? Yung mga obstacles na tinutukoy dito is ito yung mga nakikita mo sa picture na parang obstacle siya kung titignan. So ito yun yung mga timing belt natin na naka inline sa ating mga pulley. Often alternator and air conditioner compressor belts will be in the way. Depress the belt tensioner associated with the belt to be removed, which maintains constant tension of the belt. To obtain enough slack to slip the belt off. The tensioner is a spring which pushes against a belt, and manually pushing it the opposite way will release the tension. So, ayun, hindi natin agad-agad yan matatanggal hanggat wala tayong niluluwagang isa na pulley dito sa ating obstacles. So, step 2. Remove the engine's timing belt or chain if necessary. Kung kinakailangan lang i-remove natin yung ating mga timing belt. Kasi, remove the engine's timing belt or chain if necessary, as this is often in the way of the water pump. Record the orientation of all associated sprockets with respect to each other, as it will be necessary to reinstall the timing chain in the exact same way for the engine to run properly. So ayun, kailangan orderly natin silang i-inspectionin. For example, nagluwag tayo ng isa sa mga pulley or kung tatanggalin natin yung ating belt, kailangan, kung ano niluwagan natin, yun rin yung hihigpitan natin. Wala tayong kalilimutan. Kasi once na meron tayong nakalimutan or na hindi natin na nahigpitan, pwedeng hindi mag-run ng maganda yung ating kotse or hindi mag-function ng mabuti yung ating engine. Step 3. Remove the water pump belt from the water pump depending on the specific mechanics of the vehicle. Determined by the manufacturer, this belt may drive solely the water pump or a serpentine belt which wraps around the pulleys of many other devices such as the power steering pump and alternator. The belt need to be taken off all of the pulleys unless doing so is necessary to access the water pump. So dito nakikita natin sa picture ng step 3, ang nasa taas niya na medyo color white, ito yung alternator. And sa baba niya is ito yung water pump. So hindi natin agad basta-basta mahahatak yung belt na yan kung gusto nating i-remove. So kailangan meron tayong luwagan, isa dyan sa kanila. Pero usually na niluluwagan dyan, una is yung ating alternator in order to pull back the chain, the belt. Step 4. Install the pulley removal tool to the water pump pulley. The tool has two clips which are placed behind the pulley and a screw which pushes against the pump rotor. So nakikita natin dito sa picture ng step 4 is yung ating pulley ng isang like water pump. Pulley ng water pump. So paano natin siya tatanggalin? So meron mga nire-recommend yung OEM na pang-remove talaga ng ating pulley. So sabi dito, install the pulley removal. So hindi lang basta-basta gagamit tayo ng martilyo or kahit anong tools para pukpukin or hatakin yung ating pulley. Meron siyang pulley removal tool para matanggal yung ating yung pulley ng ating water pump. Now let's move on to remove engine mounting bracket. So nakikita natin sa picture, meron tayong isang jack, car jack, and torque wrench. So step 1, supporting the engine. Using my OEM car jack. So OEM kanina nasabi ko na, original equipment manufacturer. So ito yung mga nare-recommend ng mga mekaniko para sa ating kotse. I supported the oil sump using a piece of wood as a buffer. So kung makikita natin sa medyo itaas ng ating car jack is may wood. So para saan nga pala yung wood? Yung wood is para kumbaga hindi mabutas o hindi malagyan ng masyadong pressure yung ating oil sump. Kasi pag wala tayong wood dyan, walang magpo-protect. So possible na kapag inaangat natin yung ating car jack, pwedeng mayupi yung ating oil sump or magkaroon pa ng defect. Kaya gumagamit tayo ng wood to protect the oil sump para walang damage. Step 2, removing the busted mount. Removing the 14 mm bolts and 17 mm nuts. I took out the bogus mount. You can see the cracks on the rubber damper. So, ang napapansin ko dito guys, inuna niya yung torque wrench. So, bakit? Doon kasi mas nakikita natin kung educate ba talaga yung tao na magme-mekaniko ng ating sasakyan. So, uunahin talaga niyan is yung torque wrench. After ng torque wrench, yung ating mga box wrench, ganun. Tapos, after nun, kapag yung last part na talaga is yung mga wrenches na natin, yung mga open wrenches na natin. Step 3, comparison. Here is a side-by-side pic of old and new. The new one came with a lock washer and nut, which I didn't bother to use. So guys, kung mapapansin nyo, yung bago and may bago at luma sa ating picture ng step 3. So mapapansin mo, sa luma, wala na siyang nut and medyo laspag na yung kanyang figure. Dito sa bago, mas makikita natin, kumpleto pa siya. Mapapansin nyo sa taas, mayroon na siyang nut, yung nag-hold para hindi siya matanggal. Saka hindi na mga deform yung kanyang itong piece na ito. Step 4. Installing the new mount. Putting in the replacement was straightforward. Once I torqued the nuts and bolts, the 3 bolts and mount nut to 40 mm, the 2 17 mm nuts to 60 mm. I removed the support jack and the job is now complete. Now, remove crankshaft pulley. So alam natin yung crankshaft. Yung crankshaft, ito yung nagsisilbing parang utak o puso o kaya ay spinal cord ng ating sasakyan. Kasi nga ito yung umaandar para i-pull up and pull down yung ating piston sa loob ng ating cylinder head. So first, locate the vehicle's crankshaft pulley. Obviously, the very first thing that you must do is to find the crankshaft pulley's location in your engine to determine which component will be removed. Generally, it can be found on the engine compartment's left side or the driver's side. Other times, it may be hiding at the bottom front portion of the engine. Number 2. Get ready to disassemble your vehicle's wheel using a lug wrench. You must slacken these lug nuts off the wheel that you wish to remove. This is a step that you should do before raising your car's wheel over the floor surface. If you did not, the wheel is likely to just turn once you apply some pressure on your lug wrench. If you have a standard transmission, you can leave it in gear and it will be locked. However, for an automatic transmission, which most of you have, the engine might just keep spinning along, thus preventing you to get rid of the bolt. In this case, you will need an impact wrench. If you do not have an impact wrench, you would want to ask for a mechanic's help to just loosen the bolt. They do make electric impact wrenches for getting these bolts off. However, while they do not work quite as well, this electric impact wrench usually gets the bolts off. Place your car's transmission lever to park, and with the use of a car jack, raise your car's wheel. You would want to place the jacks stand right under the car's frame, which is situated close to the wheel that you will be removing. 3. Disassemble the bolt. So ito yung disassemble the bolt. Alam natin yung pagtanggal lang ng ating mga bolt sa ating parts ng ating engine. So, ang pagtanggal ng ating bolt is may pattern siya. For example, naka-square yung ating tatanggalan ng bolt. So, ang pattern niya is yung opposite. For example, dito ka sa sa bottom right corner, nag-start. So, luwagan mo yung bolt na yon. Then, the second na gagawin mo is yung left side sa may top tapos left side, yung ka-opposite niya lang, bali magiging X siya, hindi yung basta sunod-sunod lang ganun. Disassemble the crankshaft pulley. Once you get the bolts off, you may now remove your car's crankshaft pulley. To do this, remove the timing cover off so you can do any of the work that you will need to do, such as changing the timing belt or seat. So once you get the bolts off, so yun nga, kapag na tanggal na natin yung mga bolts ng ating mga piyesa or ng ating engine, time na sa atin yun para remove na yung ating crankshaft pulley. So once na remove na yung ating crankshaft pulley and also the timing cover, magagawa mo na kung ano yung mga dapat mo pang gawin sa mga susunod na steps. Remove water pump. Typical water pump and drive layout. This is the water pump and drive layout found on most cars. So nakikita natin yan, yung water pump nasa baba, and yung drive layout natin. Ito yung ating fan. Ito yung fan. Tapos ito yung ating belt. So ano nga ba yung belt? Ano bang function ng belt? Yung belt kasi guys, ito yung nagpapa-andar sa ating mga pulley. So pag wala tayong belt, hindi yan aandar. So the pump is mounted on the front of the engine and is driven by a belt. So, sabi ko nga, driven by a belt, which also drives the alternator. So may kita natin dyan yung fan, yung water pump, then yung alternator. So, alternator, siya yung talaga usually umiikot para sumabay yung etong ating water pump, tsaka yung ating yung water pump kasama ng ating belt. 2. Parts which you may have to remove. On some cars, you must take off the radiator to get at the water pump. 3. On early minis, the pump can be reached by removing the top part of the fan cowl. 4. Removing and refitting, slacken the drive belt by loosening the generator. Remove the fan belt and its pulley. Use a socket, spanner, and extension to remove the pump. Retaining bolts. Note the position of each bolt if they vary in length. So ayun guys, mas bine-verify lang o mas in-execute lang dito yung kapag magluluwag o magtatanggal tayo ng bolts, kailangan talaga mahigpit. Hindi naman gagamit tayo ng tools para sa paghigpit niyan. Dapat hand grip lang talaga siya. Hand tight lang. 6. If the pump is stuck to its mounting by gasket sealant, free it by tapping gently with a soft face hammer. So ayun guys, yung ating pump pulley is meron siyang sealant, gasket sealant. So minsan kasi pag magtatanggal tayo ng dalawang metal na meron siyang gasket sa gitna or gasket sealant sa gitna, mahirap siyang tanggalin ng ating mga kamay lang. No? Kasi sobrang dikit na siya talaga. So kung gagamit tayo ng tools, dapat yung soft face hammer. Hindi yung tornilyo, hindi yung martilyo, o kahit anong mga matitigas na bagay na pag hinit natin dun sa ating pulley ay masisira siya. Dapat soft face hammer lang or rubber hammer. Saka hindi masyadong todo yung hampas, yung gently lang talaga siya para hindi masira yung ating pump or yung ating pulley. Remove timing chain cover. Step 1. Remove the valve cover. This is another operation that may not apply to all cars. If your car has an overhead camshaft, it will be necessary to take the valve cover off to access the upper part of the timing cover. If your car has the camshaft in the block, it will probably not be necessary. Remove the crankcase, vent, hose, and spark plug connections. Unbolt the cover and work it loose. A few strikes from the dead blow hammer may be necessary to get it started. Step 2. Remove the timing cover bolts. Most timing covers have a variety of bolt sizes and lengths holding them on. It's important to keep track of them. If you put a long bolt in a short hole and try to tighten it up, you can do serious damage, and some of the bolt lengths only differ by a few millimeters. So sa step 2, remove the timing cover bolts. So sinabi nga rito may mga iba't ibang sizes ng bolts. So kailangan kung ano yung ni-remove natin, kung anong size yung ni-remove natin, yun din yung i-install natin. For example, yung ni-remove natin is loose thread na, kailangan kung papalitan natin siya, same size lang din. Same yung haba, same yung lapad niya. Para hindi masira yung hole ng ating parts. Step 3. Remove the timing cover. If your car has the cam in the block, use your small pry bar or a large screwdriver to gain purchase under the timing cover and work it off the block. If your car has an overhead camshaft, there may be a portion of the timing cover that fits up under the cylinder head. Be very careful not to damage the head gasket at this point. Step 4. Inspect the timing cover. Clean the timing cover thoroughly and check the timing cover for cracks or chips. Look carefully to the machine's surface where the gaskets attach. If you're trying to fix a leak, it may be solved simply by replacing the gaskets and seals. So now let's move on to remove timing chain. Step 1 of removing timing chain. Prepare the engine. When changing the timing chain, you will need to disassemble and reassemble different engine parts. So sabi nga dito, piprepare natin yung ating engine. Tapos, kailangan muna nating mag-assemble and mag-disassemble and mag-assemble ng mga different parts in order to remove the timing chain. That's why you will need your owner's manual as the guide in locating the timing chain of your car. So, kailangan hawak-hawak mo rin yung service manual ng kotse na or engine na natatanggal mo ng timing chain for you to be your guide. Step 2, disconnect the radiator. The next step is to disconnect the radiator by removing the radiator cap. Doing so will drain the coolant from the system to drain the coolant. You should open the drain cock. It is often located near the radiator's bottom. Commonly, it is a pull cap or a plastic screw that you can release. Step 3. Remove the components of the drive belt. Use the owner's manual to locate the routing diagram. Usually, it can be found underneath the car's hood. Then remove the tension belt. For the S belts, serpentine belts to be released. Compress the spring-loaded tensioner. To remove the V-belt or multi-design belt, adjust the position of one of the pulleys. The belts will easily slide off other pulleys once you release the tension. If your car model has heater hoses connected to the water pump, use a screwdriver to release the hose clamps, then remove the hose from the water pump. Then remove the water pump as well by removing the bolts. Next, remove the harmonic balancer or the crankshaft pulley. Step 4. Remove the timing chain. When removing the timing chain, unbolt its cover from the engine block. Determine the locations of the camshaft and the crankshaft. Usually, these gears are attached by the timing chain in order for the piston's position directly correlates to the opening of the exhaust and fuel valves. This keeps the engine smoothly running. Mark these gears to know and remember their relative position. Also, locate bring links or marks in the timing chain. These are called bright links because they are brighter compared to other links. Its purpose is to alight the engine. Next, get the engine to top dead center. After that, you can now remove the timing chain. To do so, use a ratchet or wrench to loosen the tension gear, then slide off the chain from the gears. Step 5. Install new timing chain. Before installing the new chain, lubricate the gear first using a decent amount of gear oil. This will make sure the new gear and timing chain will perform at its optimum for the longest possible time. After that, you can now place the new timing chain. Make sure that you align the new chain exactly with the marks on the gears from the old chain. It will enable you to locate the top dead center whenever you need to. Then tighten these chains. Refer to the owner's manual for specifications because adjusting the camshaft and crankshaft gear varies from one car to another. Step 6. Replace the camshaft seal. To replace the crankshaft seal, use a punch and a hammer tapping the new timing cover with the new crankshaft seal. Coat it with oil to ensure that it's compressed in order for it to function properly. Then reinstall the cover of the timing chain. Step 7. Reassemble the cooling system and the components of the drive belt. Reassemble the component of the drive belt and the cooling system. Start by bolting on the harmonic balancer. Always refer to the owner's manual for specifications. Then proceed to reinstall the water pump. Next, connect the heater hoses to the water pump. Put the radiator hoses back and fill it with the coolant. If the coolant is already dirty, then it's time to fill it with a new one. Then rerun all the drive belts and tighten it. You're almost done. You can now reconnect the car battery. Try starting the engine, then check for any leaks or drips. If everything is working well and there are no leaks, then you have done it right. Then it's now time to check the timing using a timing light.
Kung ano yung mga dapat gawin. Siyempre sa una is determine all specification for the timing chain or belt tension assembly according to the manufacturer engine assembly being serviced. So, number 2, dito naman remove the concept timing chain belt cover. So, hindi ko na isa-isa yan kasi meron namang step by step para kung paano to inspect ang timing chain, ang timing gear natin is timing bracket. So, para lang sa akin is parang sa bike din to, merong chain tsaka gear at sprocket na kailangan pagpali-palitin upang mas maganda ang ibibigay nitong takbo. So, sprocket naman, ito yung pinaglalagyan ng chain upang umikot ng maayos. Tsaka yung gear, ito yung mga nagpapalit na mga parang katulad sa bike, 'di ba? Merong tinatawag na gear upang bumaba yung kadena sa may 1, 2, and then drain the coolant by opening the radiator and cylinder block. Drain plugs if any are by taking off the bottom radiator hose and then disconnect the top hose. Last one is disconnect the exhaust pipe from the manifold. Support the pipe if there is a risk straining. Ito naman sa step 1, tsaka makikita itong mga pinagsasabi ko para dito sa disassemble engine.
So, ayun, no? Step 3 na tayo. Remove the manifolds. So, alam naman natin itong, meron tayong two types of manifolds, no? We have exhaust manifolds and intake manifolds. So, dun sa intake manifolds, no? From the word manifolds, it means multiply, no? So, we have a different manifolds na meron tayong 6 na manifolds na yung we have 6 passage na manifolds or holes, no? 6 holes or 4 holes, 8 holes, no? Depende sa type ng engine ito, no? So dito nakalagay, no, remove the manifolds. So bakit natin kailangan na i-remove yung ating manifolds? Now use your wrench to loosen the bolts on the intake manifold. You need to use the pry bar. So ano yung tinatawag natin na pry bar? So ito yung tools, no, para matanggal natin yung ating manifold, no, to remove the manifold from the engine, no. Yan nga sabi ko kanina, para matanggal natin yung ating manifold na nakalagay sa ating engine. Go gently as you be replacing it later. 1. The side of the cylinder head, you see the exhaust manifold, no, nakalagay ito sa gilid ng ating cylinder head. Manifold with several bolts holding it in. You need to use your wrench to loosen and remove these bolts before you remove the manifolds. So once na tayo ay magtatanggal ng ating manifolds, no, meron din tayong mga pattern dito. Pwede natin i-apply yung mga pattern dito, no, like cross pattern, no, marami tayong pattern na pwedeng i-apply, no, para masuportahan pa rin na hindi malaglag yung ating manifolds once na tayo ay nagtatanggal nito. And step 4, access and remove the cylinder head. To take off the bulb cover with your wrench, remove the bolts and lift it up. Now, once na tayo magtatanggal ng cylinder head, no, or cylinder head cover, first, kailangan natin tanggalin or kailangan natin gumamit ng wrench, no, para tanggalin yung mga bolts. And once natanggal na natin yung mga bolts, no, it's a time na pwede na natin i-lift yung ating cylinder head, no. You will now see the rocker arm, no. So nakalagay yung rocker arm natin dito, no. So si rocker arm, ito yung nagpapagalaw ng mga bulbs natin, no. Meron siyang mga galamay na nagpapagalaw din sa ating bulbs, no. We have been taken exhaust na dun sa ating rocker arm, no. So kung nakikita nyo sa picture, no, itong mga nakatapit na to, no, ay yung ating rocker arm sa taas na, yung nasa top. Yun yung ating rocker arm. At this point, loosen and remove the nut from each of the rocker arm. So kailangan daw natin i-loosen and tanggalin yung ating mga bolts ng ating rocker arm, working one by one, no, isa-isa muna. Lift it out each of the rocker arm and push rod. So step 5. So ito, magtatanggal na tayo ng remove cylinder head gasket. So alam naman natin na ang cylinder head gasket, ito yung nagsisil ng ating once na tayo ay may two surface, no. So sila yung nagsisil ng mga oil, no, once, para hindi ito makalabas, no, hindi magkaroon ng leak sa ating engine or sa ating cylinder head or sa anumang parts or components ng ating cars yan. Basta merong two surface na pagdidikitan at may mga passage dito ng fluids or oils, no, kailangan natin lagyan nito ng gasket. So sa remove the head gasket with the cylinder head off, you can now reach the head gasket to remove it. Normally, the head gasket will simply lift up. It held in place by some protrusion. The holes on the gasket fit over this. There will probably be some of the gasket material left on the block and head. You'll need to use the scraper. So ano yung scraper? Ito yung pangkadkad, no. Alam ko po, yun yung scraper, yun yung pangkadkad para matanggal natin. Kasi yung mga cylinder head gasket natin, meron itong mga seal, no, yung silicone, no. So once na naglalagay tayo nito, nilalagay natin ng silicone gasket, no, para mas masil yung ating two surface, no, hindi makalabas talaga or hindi magkaroon ng leak kung saan man natin ito ilalagay, no. To remove and clean, no, para maging malinis nga itong cylinder head natin, no, kailangan natin gumamit ng scraper. Then through before you put on a new head gasket. So kailangan natin maglagay ng panibagong cylinder head gasket once na natanggal natin yung ating head gasket, no, kasi si head gasket is replacement siya, no. Once na nagamit na natin siya, hindi na natin siya pwedeng gamitin ulit, no. Discard the old gasket because you can reuse it. O bawal na nga siyang gamitin ulit. Make sure you fit a new gasket the right way round. Remove oil pan. So dito we have 3 steps na nakikita naman natin. So remove the heat cover, no. Number 2, remove the dipstick. So si dipstick, ito yung sumusukat ng oil sa ating oil pan, no, kung ito ba ay naka high or low pa siya. or ito rin ang sumusukat, no, ng ayun, yun nga, yung sumusukat nga siya ng oil doon sa ating oil pan. So, next, remove the clutch cover, torque converter cover, and remove the 2 bolts. Secure the transmission. So, we need to secure the transmission once na tayo ay nagtatanggal ng clutch cover, torque converter cover, and yung mga bolts nito. So, kailangan gamitan din natin ito ng pattern na once na tayo nagtatanggal ng mga bolts. Always remember. So, step number 4, remove the bolts and nuts. Secure the oil pan. So, kailangan din natin na i-secure yung ating oil pan, no? Kasi may mga important component itong ating oil pan na nakakatulong din sa pagpapalamig ng ating oil and sa pag-flow ng ating oil sa loob ng ating engine. So, once na nasira iyon, no, possible na magkaroon ng problem yung ating engine. So, step number 5, set the flat blade screwdriver as shown and separate the oil pan from the block, no? So, last steps is remove the oil pan. So, we need to remove the oil pan. So, bago natin i-remove yung ating oil pan, no, we need to secure yung ating engine na pagkukunan, no, para makaiwas tayo sa any accidents na mangyayari. So, yun, dito nagtatapos yung
So next slide natin is inspect chain tensioner. So sa pag-inspect ng ating chain tensioner, dito nakalagay is check the long plunger moves smoothly when the ratchet pole is raised with your finger. So kailangan check natin ng ating dalawang kamay yung ating chain tensioner. Check natin yung plunger kung ito ba ay nagalaw ng smooth lang and walang naglalak or kaya walang walang humaharang. And then sabi natin, release the ratchet pole and check the plunger is locked in place by ratchet pole and does not move when push with your finger. So dito naman, kailangan pag ginalaw mo siya is dapat naglalak siya, di siya gumagalaw. And then sa number 5 naman, inspect oil jet, and number 6, inspect dry belt tensioner. So kailangan natin silang i-check lagi for oil leakage in crack, kasi pag meron yan or meron yung leakage or crack, kailangan na natin silang i-replace as soon as possible yung ating dry belt tensioner and chain or yun. So let's proceed to the next slide, which is inspect chain tensioner and slipper and damper. So dito we have to inspect chain tensioner, slipper and vibration damper. So kailangan natin siyang i-measure if yung chain tensioner natin is nasa tamang measurement pa ba. So yung maximum wear ng ating tensioner is 1.0 mm. And pag kinonvert mo to sa inches, ay kakalabasan is 0.039 inches. So pag ang wear natin is greater than the maximum, ay kailangan na natin siyang i-replace or yung palitan na natin yung slipper and yung damper natin. It may cause kasi ng major problem if di natin siya napalitan within pag uh, sumobra yung sumobra sa maximum yung measurement ng ating wear. So let's proceed to the removable cylinder head set bolts. So in removing our set bolts in our cylinder head, so we're going to make sure that all the bolts or the head bolts of our cylinder is in the good condition. So dapat free siya from nicks or corrosion. So yung neck is yung neck na yan tinatawag is yung cut or notch or yung maliliit na crack or damage sa ating mga bolts. And yung corrosion is yung metal to metal contact or yung pagka-impis ng ng metal. So yan ay ina-avoid natin na mas stretch or ina-avoid natin na maturkey ng may sobrang higpit na maaring mag-cause ng pagkabilog ng ating bolts. So ito yung ating ina-avoid pag magluluwag tayo. Dapat is nasa tamang turkey range yung ating bolts, and then di siya dapat pinipwersa